There's so much negativity, and I think it's actually just you guys, first of all. The media loves to spread negativity for some dumb reason.
I showed a great tennis. It wasn't like 6-love, 6-love. It was a great fight. It was interesting to watch.
In the high-stakes, neon-drenched atmosphere of Dubai's Coca-Cola Arena, the final days of 2025 delivered a sporting spectacle that was part gladiatorial combat and part social experiment. It was billed as the ultimate modern reimagining of the most famous grudge match in history. But by the time the dust settled, the battle of the sexes between Aryna Sabalenka and Nick Kyrgios had evolved into a cultural lightning rod. This was not just another exhibition match played for the benefit of a wealthy crowd. It was a collision of egos, gender politics, and a radical attempt to rewrite the rules of the game.
So, Aryna, I know you have this Battle of the Sexes game coming up with Nick. Nick had been on the show. Very excited about this repeat. I don't think it's ever been done again.
No, I think it's been done like long time ago.
Yeah, Billie Jean
like,
King.
Yeah, like really long.
Years
like,
ago.
When was that? What was the year?
The 70s, yeah. Great game.
It's been a while, right?
Great movie about if anyone hasn't seen the actual game, there's a great movie about it too. And so with Emma Stone, I think
we're bringing it back.
Yeah, you're bringing it back. What inspired this?
Well, since we're fighting for equal prize money, I believe that's the reason. No, no, but mostly just I think it's fun and it's cool to see, and it's interesting for me to play against the man, and I'm ready to kick his. Are we allowed to use this word? Kick his ass, right? I'm putting a lot of pressure on him right now, so I hope he's gonna just withdraw from feeling all of the pressure.
Yeah, you can say whatever you want. Give us that message to Nick. I'm gonna send it to Nick straight away after this message.
Well, Nick, you gotta be ready. You better be ready, and. Yeah, I'm gonna kick your ass, man.
I love it.
For months, the buildup had been relentless, with both players using every platform from social media to mainstream news to stoke a fire that many purists felt should never have been lit.
We had a small comment about this event, months ago, and it's all that was talked about. And there's so much negativity, and I think it's actually just you guys, first of all. The media loves to spread negativity for some dumb reason, and the hate towards, me wanting to go out there and challenge myself and play such a great player like Aryna. You guys actually do it. I mean, I don't do it. I was always about this. I would love to do these events more. I think more events should be mixed. I love mixed doubles. I play all the mixed doubles events. I love when it's women and men at events.
The atmosphere inside the 17,000-seat arena was electric, vibrating with the kind of tension usually reserved for a Grand Slam final. The spectacle began with a boxing-style walkout that set the tone for the evening. Aryna Sabalenka, the reigning world #1 and a 4-time Grand Slam champion, entered the court through the stands to the thumping beat of Eye of the Tiger. Clad in a sparkling, reflective overcoat that shimmered under the arena lights, she looked every bit the warrior queen. Her opponent, Nick Kyrgios, the sport's ultimate maverick, and a man who had spent the better part of 3 years sidelined by wrist and knee injuries, met her with his trademark swagger.
Aryna Sabalenka!
For Kyrgios, currently ranked outside the top 600 due to his inactivity, this was a chance to prove that even a half-fit version of himself could still dominate the world's best female athlete.
I don't understand how people were able to find something negative in this event. I think for WTA, I just showed that, I was playing a great tennis.
However, the real controversy didn't lie in the players' entrances, but in the Equalizer rules that governed the contest. To account for the physiological differences in speed and power, the court itself was physically modified. Sabalenka's side of the court was reduced by approximately 9% in total area, based on statistical data suggesting a gap in lateral movement between top-tier men and women. Furthermore, both players were stripped of their second serves. In a sport where the second serve is a safety net, this rule turned every point into a high-wire act. If a player missed their first serve, they lost the point instantly. While organizers marketed these changes as progressive innovation, the global tennis community was quick to call it an insulting farce. Critics argued that by shrinking the court, Sabalenka was inadvertently admitting that the women's game could not stand on its own merit, while others claimed the single-serve rule unfairly favored Kyrgios's naturally explosive arm. As the match began, the playful facade of an exhibition quickly gave way to a gritty, physical struggle. Sabalenka was not there to be a supporting character in Kyrgios's comeback story. She came out swinging, her signature tiger grunts echoing through the arena as she blasted forehands that clocked over 80 miles per hour. For the first few games, the equalized court seemed to work. Kyrgios looked visibly flustered by the tighter angles he had to hit into, and Sabalenka broke his serve early, much to the delight of a crowd that had paid up to $800 for the privilege of a front-row seat. The Belarusian even found time to lean into the showmanship, dancing the Macarena during a strategic timeout and laughing off Kyrgios's attempts at underarm serves. But then, the reality of the physical divide began to settle in. Kyrgios, despite appearing drenched in sweat and gasping for breath by the middle of the first set, possessed a raw power that no amount of court shrinking could fully neutralize. The turning point of the first set came with the score tied at 3-3. Sabalenka was serving at 40-15 and looked certain to hold. But under the pressure of the single-serve rule, she committed 2 consecutive faults. The crowd gasped as the umpire called game Kyrgios. It was a psychological blow from which she never truly recovered in that set. Kyrgios sensed the shift in energy and tightened his grip, closing out the first set 6-3 with a flurry of aces that Sabalenka simply could not touch, regardless of the size of the court. The second set began with Sabalenka attempting to regain her composure through tactical aggression. She raced to a 3-1 lead, utilizing drop shots and loopy, high topspin forehands that forced the taller Australian to move uncomfortably. Kyrgios looked like a man on the brink of collapse, at one point using a full 60-second timeout just to lean over his knees and catch his breath. Yet, just as the momentum seemed to be swinging toward a deciding tiebreak, the junk tennis of the Australian maverick took over. He began hitting sliced forehands and dead balls that took all the pace off the court, forcing Sabalenka to generate her own power from a standstill. It was a masterclass in tactical disruption. Kyrgios reeled off 5 games in a row, eventually sealing the match 6-3, 6-3. Within minutes of the final point, social media exploded. Tennis legends and journalists labeled the event a cynical money grab orchestrated by Evolve, the talent agency that represents both players. The ghost of Billie Jean King's 1973 victory over Bobby Riggs loomed large over the discourse. While King's win was a landmark moment for gender equality and the legitimacy of the WTA, many argued that the Sabalenka-Kyrgios match did the exact opposite. By framing the result as a foregone conclusion that required handicaps to be competitive, critics felt the event reinforced the very gender biases that the original Battle of the Sexes had sought to dismantle. The broadcast itself added to the sense of a circus. The BBC, which aired the match live, was forced to apologize 3 times for technical failures that saw the screen go black during crucial rallies. Analysts Russell Fuller and Annabelle Croft sounded visibly defensive on air, struggling to frame the event as a serious sporting contest while the public address system was busy announcing the entrance of former football stars like Ronaldo and Kaká mid-set. To many purists, the gray-hued custom court and the constant commercial interruptions made the match feel less like a sporting event and more like a laboratory experiment gone wrong. Sabalenka, however, refused to accept the narrative that she had been humbled. In a defiant post-match press conference, she pushed back against the negativity. She pointed out that the scoreline was competitive and that she had forced one of the best servers in the history of the men's game to strap in and work for every point. She argued that the match was a win for the sport because it generated more social media engagement than almost any Grand Slam final in the last 5 years.
I don't understand how people were able to find something negative in this event. I think for WTA, I just showed that, I was playing a great tennis. It was entertaining match, and yeah, he won this match. But I showed a great tennis. It wasn't like 6-love. It was a great fight. It was interesting to watch. It brought more eyes on tennis. I think the attention that we built up to this event was not less than the Grand Slam final.
For Sabalenka, the controversy was proof of the event's success. If people weren't bothered, they wouldn't be talking. She even joked about a rematch in 2026, suggesting that with a better understanding of Kyrgios's junk tactics, she could flip the result. Kyrgios was equally unapologetic. He reminded the press that he is one of the few players to ever beat the Big Four of Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, and Murray. By competing on a level where she could break his serve and lead him in sets, Kyrgios claimed Sabalenka had proven she belonged in the top tier of all athletes, regardless of gender. He leaned into the villain persona he has cultivated for years, mocking the keyboard warriors who claimed the match was a step backward. To him, this was the future of tennis, high-octane entertainment that blurred the lines between sport and show business. Yet the under fire narrative persisted. Former players and feminist icons expressed concern that the match gave ammunition to misogynists and incels who delight in seeing a female champion lose to an unranked male player. The fact that Kyrgios had previously made controversial comments about equal pay in tennis only added fuel to the fire. His victory, even under modified conditions, was celebrated in the darker corners of the internet as proof of male superiority, a result that Sabalenka's camp seemed to have underestimated when they signed the contract. As the lights went out in Dubai, the Battle of the Sexes 2025 left behind a complicated legacy. It was a sold-out success that proved there is a massive appetite for non-traditional tennis formats. It proved that Sabalenka is a global superstar with the charisma to carry an entire event on her shoulders. But it also proved that the sport is still deeply divided over its own identity. Was it a great stepping stone, as Kyrgios claimed, or was it a predictable farce that trivialized the women's game? The answer likely depends on whether you view tennis as a sacred tradition or a commercial product. One thing is certain, Aryna Sabalenka and Nick Kyrgios didn't just play a match. They started a conversation that the tennis world will be having all the way through the 2026 season. Whether it was for pride, for money, or for progressive innovation, the night in Beijing and Dubai changed the way we look at the baseline forever.